Many know nothing of these children of the night. Some do, but say nothing. They are among us, near us, around us. These children are lost, lost to the darkness of the night.
Prostitution is the performance of sexual acts for payment. Child prostitution occurs where the persons receiving payment for these sexual acts are under the age of 18. In our 238 square mile island of St. Lucia, with a population of approximately 152,000, 70% of our population is under the age of 30. In this youthful population, child prostitution is very much a reality and is sadly on the rise. Hello, I'm Esther. In this documentary, we'll look at the sad realities in St. Lucia, listen to the actual words of a 16-year-old female prostitute, investigate the reasons why these children prostitute themselves, and find out what the law has to say about it.
What we have found coming up the last year or so is a question of child prostitution, or if we would say children prostitution. We have had a number of cases which is causing concern. At one time, Brazil Street, if I should mention the name of a street, was referred to as the famous street in New York, because girls assembled by the square, and when I say girls, they were between the ages of 13 and 16, assembled by the square, waiting for pickups. But when the police got to know, and when we got to know in our branch, we spoke with one or two of them. We carried out surveillance, we spoke with one or two of them, and told them that prostitution is an offense, and we were able to curb on it.
Do you have sex for money?
Yeah. $1,000.
How many men a week?
I mean, plenty.
When you say plenty, how many?
Maybe 4, 5, 6 for them.
Where do you meet them?
I meet them in town, and they put me at the woman.
Tell us about the type of men. Are they old men, young men?
Young and old.
Are some of them married?
Yes. Some of them are married, some of them are not married.
And you say you go to their homes?
Yes. I go to their home.
Now those who are married, where do you meet? Where do you go with them?
On the beach.
Some of these men have cars.
Yes, some of them have cars. Some of them don't have cars.
The men who take you to their homes, where do they live?
So, when I've been Masha and Beaufort.
Okay, so you go all the way to Beaufort?
Yes.
Okay. But how do these men know that they can come to you?
Someone told them that and things.
But how do you dress?
I wear short clothes sometimes. My pants, my long pants, my skirts and things.
Okay. So where do you meet these men?
In town, by the square, back at my home.
Okay. Do you know other girls who do that?
Yes, my friend. She's my home, and she's in the same thing like me.
Okay. And she's about your age?
No, she's 14.
She's 14. And she has sex for money?
Yes.
How long have you been doing that?
That's a long time.
When you say long, how many years?
Like 3 or 4.
Many want to know why young girls and boys decide to sell their bodies for money. It is believed that children become prostitutes largely for economic reasons, in simple terms, to get money, though other social and psychological causes also play a role in that decision. Sometimes even parents encourage children to prostitute themselves, and some even arrange it.
There was an exceptional case where we learned that a parent was involved, in the sense that the parent would invite young girls to her home, pretending that they are friends of her daughter, and then she would take them out to different nightclubs and then set them up along with guys much older than the girls, and in the end she would receive money in turn for those girls sleeping out with those guys. We do have young girls who have dropped out from school and into prostitution, and there are several factors that would cause these young girls, in speaking with them, that would cause them to go into prostitution. Some would say because of their socioeconomic background, because there's no money at home, because they want certain things. An area too is the provision of school necessities, where the parents cannot really afford, for example, like books and shoes and uniform, and they probably would have to go to bed with a guy for it. We're not going to say poverty, just poverty, no, because they can do without prostitution to survive. Some of them, probably because their parents are in it, they too get involved in it. Some of them say just for the fun of it, and some of them who have been sexually assaulted at a tender age have now turned to prostitution because they don't see anything wrong in it.
Why did you begin having sex for money?
I don't have money. I don't have nobody helping me, so I have sex for money. I still don't have nobody helping me still.
Okay, so you're still doing it?
Yeah, I still do it on a Friday.
Only on Fridays? And how long do you stay with them?
We spend like a whole week. We spend like in the night until tomorrow morning.
And then take you home?
Yeah.
In St. Lucia, it has been learnt that there are actively run brothels or houses of prostitution in Sarot, Fuasho, Mondador, and Hospital Road. The girls involved are usually between the ages of 10 to 18, with some still in school and many others out of school. A lot of sexual activity involving child prostitutes occur during the weekend in the north of the island. Although the majority of these children involved are female, there are young boys, usually between the ages of 12 to 14, who partake in homosexual activity to earn money. Some of these young boys are involved in a homosexual ring whose clientele consists mainly of affluent men, both local and foreign. The reason why this trade of sex for money actively continues is the basic principle of supply and demand. There are persons willing to sell sex for money and others willing to buy. Some prostitutes exchange sex for as little as $5 or even food to eat. The prostitutes' clients, or Johns, as they are internationally referred to, are as diverse as the prostitutes involved. Men from all socioeconomic backgrounds take part in this vice. One female prostitute reported that some of these men refused to use condoms when having sex, and there was one case where another girl was beaten when she asked a guy to use a condom. This situation now raises another troubling question. How many types of STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, are spread during this type of activity?
From a medical standpoint, what we see that child prostitution can do is that it affects the kid in a very negative way. In the first instance, it deprives the child of dreaming. It puts them in a socioeconomic turmoil that they almost can never get out of. Okay, it prevents them from going to school, focusing on their studies, developing with their peers, etc. It deprives them of a golden opportunity in life. In addition to that, it exposes them to the whole range of sexually transmitted diseases, which are of endemic proportions in our society today. You have those as drastic as HIV, you have others like syphilis, gonorrhea, just to name a few. Pregnancy is another of the sequelae of this exploitative undertaking by men and women. Young kids or teenagers or children who get pregnant are really placed into a sphere of life which they are not prepared for, neither psychologically, nor physiologically, nor economically. And this, of course, has devastating and far-reaching consequences for their future.
Because of their ages, other physical scarring, such as permanent damage to the young girl's uterus, can occur. Dr. St. Rose describes this in greater detail.
The kids who become pregnant more often than not need to resort to criminal abortions, which puts their life in jeopardy in the first instance. And if they do survive, many times would end up with chronic pelvic inflammation, chronic pelvic pain, other diseases of the abdomen, infertility. It put them at risk for ectopic pregnancies, etc.
Prostitution is not only considered morally wrong, but also lawfully wrong. It is against the law to sell or buy sex. The adults who pay for sex from these young girls and boys break not only one law. The first is for soliciting sex for money, and the second is unlawful carnal knowledge.
I am one of those who believe that given the criminal and inhumane nature of child prostitution, that it needs to be dealt with within the proper medical legal framework. And by this I mean, if parents or adults in society know of kids who are being exploited in that context, they need to use the avenues to report these cases, okay? Doctors also who come across this type of situations need to inform the authorities. The authorities also need to deal with this situation with a fair degree of responsibility in that when such reports are made, they need to deal with it with a certain amount of confidentiality, giving people the confidence to report such cases and ensuring that effective action is taken in that regard.
The next and most important question remains: how can child prostitution be stopped or at least reduced in this country? In some states in the USA, the names of Johns, or persons caught paying prostitutes for sex, are printed in the local papers, and the employers and families are made aware. Some say that the government should get involved, and the police need to clamp down on and monitor the activity of prostitution more. Other suggestions include the church giving more moral guidance and making a home available for these children to escape to. It is also said that living standards need to be raised and that schools should teach more sex education. But as mentioned before, the basic principle still remains: the principle of supply and demand. Although shocking or even unbelievable, child prostitution is a reality and continues right here in our island paradise of St. Lucia.
Many know nothing of these children of the night. Some do but say nothing. They are among us, near us, around us. These children are lost to the darkness of the night.